Reclaim Yourself, Building a Life of Purpose. Written by Ronnie Rowland. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. Introduction. In a world filled with distractions, demands, and endless expectations, it's easy to lose sight of who we are at our core. We often find ourselves living for others, striving to meet standards that don't resonate with our true selves. But there's a powerful shift that happens when we decide to turn inward and reclaim the parts of us that have been neglected or forgotten. This journey isn't about leaving the world behind, it's about reconnecting with what genuinely matters, rebuilding from the inside out, and living a life that aligns with our deepest values. Reclaim Yourself. Building a Life of Purpose is an invitation to begin that journey. It's a guide to breaking free from limiting beliefs, stepping into resilience, and creating lasting habits that support the life you want to live. True transformation doesn't happen overnight, it's a series of choices, each one bringing you closer to the person you're meant to be. Reclaiming yourself means shedding what no longer serves you, building strength and clarity, and embracing a life of intentionality and meaning. Consider this your permission to invest in yourself, to rediscover your own voice, and to build a life that feels truly yours. Let this journey be a reminder that reclaiming your life is not only possible but transformative. Because when you commit to building a life of purpose, you're stepping into a version of yourself that is both empowered and fulfilled. Chapter 1. The Call to Look Inward. In a world dominated by noise, notifications, expectations, endless to-do lists, it's easy to become disconnected from ourselves. We're pulled in every direction, so much so that we rarely stop to ask, who am I underneath all this? What do I really want? The journey of rebuilding starts by taking a deep breath, stepping back, and turning our focus inward, away from the clamor around us. It's a daunting task, especially since the world isn't designed to make this introspection easy. The truth is, looking inward can feel uncomfortable. For most, it's easier to distract ourselves. We reach for our phones, open up a streaming app, or fill our calendars to the brim. The external world offers an endless supply of distractions, and every ping or vibration offers a tiny escape from the uncertainty of self-reflection. But these distractions keep us stuck, preventing the very growth we crave. The path forward, if we're honest with ourselves, starts by acknowledging and confronting these distractions. Self-awareness is the first and most critical step on this path. Imagine driving a car without looking at the road ahead, or even knowing your destination. You might make progress, but it'll be slow, chaotic, and you're bound to crash. Living without self-awareness is similar. We might go through the motions, checking off society's milestones, school, career, relationships, but without an internal compass we lose touch with what truly matters to us. Self-awareness gives us that compass. It brings clarity to our choices and a sense of purpose to our lives. Why, then, is looking inward so challenging? Much of it comes down to fear. Many of us fear what we might find if we strip away the layers of identity we've adopted. We've taken on roles and titles, parent, partner, friend, employee, that bring a sense of safety and familiarity. But when we rely solely on these roles, we risk losing sight of the individual underneath. We become defined by what others see, rather than by who we are. To truly rebuild ourselves, we must confront these fears and redefine our identity from the inside out. Imagine, for a moment, peeling back these layers one by one. You start with your professional identity, your job title, the career you've invested in. Beneath that, you strip away your social identity, the person your friends and community know you as. Then, you go deeper, peeling back the layers of family expectations, cultural norms, and societal standards. What's left? In the quiet space that remains, you'll find the unfiltered version of yourself, the person who is often buried beneath the noise. It's a frightening exercise, yet one that's liberating. For the first time, you're face to face with who you are at the core. It's a humbling experience, but an essential one. Without confronting this raw version of yourself, the foundation you build on will remain shaky and uncertain. Rebuilding starts here, in this vulnerable and honest moment of clarity. One of the keys to understanding who you are beneath the roles is tuning into your inner voice. This is the voice that knows your fears, dreams, insecurities, and aspirations better than anyone else. But to hear it, you must quiet the external noise. A simple exercise to begin this process is to spend a few moments each day in solitude, no distractions, no external inputs. In these quiet moments, let your thoughts flow freely without judgment. Let the inner voice emerge. This process of inner listening may feel foreign at first. We're so used to voices around us telling us what to do, think, and feel that we rarely tune into our own. But the more you practice, the clearer your inner voice will become. And as you build a habit of listening to it, you'll begin to develop a more profound sense of trust in yourself. One of the most difficult aspects of this journey is honesty. Self-awareness isn't just about recognizing what you like about yourself, it's about acknowledging the uncomfortable truths, the areas where you might feel lost, or the habits and beliefs that may be holding you back. Self-honesty doesn't mean self-criticism. It means observing your thoughts, patterns, and behaviors with curiosity and compassion, without judgment. When you embrace self-honesty, you're no longer a passive observer of your life. You start to understand the why behind your actions, the what behind your choices. This insight forms the foundation of your journey. With each revelation, you're preparing to rebuild on solid ground, knowing that the foundation beneath you is real, resilient, and aligned with your true self. As you embark on this journey inward, remember that self-awareness isn't a one-time destination but a continuous practice. Start small, set aside 5 minutes each day to reflect. Ask yourself simple but profound questions. What truly matters to me? What am I afraid of? What do I want to let go of? Jot down your thoughts without overthinking. Over time, these moments will add up, and you'll find yourself with a growing sense of clarity and purpose. Rebuilding yourself is a commitment, but it's one that pays off in countless ways. By looking inward, you're beginning a journey that's challenging but rewarding, one that brings peace and a sense of alignment with who you really are. So take that first step. Embrace the silence, confront the discomfort, and open yourself to the possibility of transformation. Chapter 2. Breaking Free from External Expectations. From the moment we're born, we're molded by expectations, by our families, our cultures, our communities. We're taught who to be, how to act, what to value. We inherit traditions, roles, and beliefs that often have more to do with others' opinions than our own true selves. While some of these expectations can guide us positively, others become chains that bind us, defining us in ways that aren't authentic. Rebuilding yourself requires you to first recognize these influences, then let go of what doesn't align with who you truly are. Consider this. Each expectation we internalize is like a mask we wear. At work, we wear the mask of the competent professional. With family, we might wear the mask of the dutiful child or the reliable sibling. We often don't even realize how deeply these masks are fused to us. But what happens when we strip them away? What if we dared to explore who we are without the influence of these roles? Begin by reflecting on the roles and expectations you feel bound by. Think of your interactions throughout a typical day. Do you find yourself acting differently around certain people, saying things you wouldn't say to others, or suppressing parts of your personality? These are signs that you may be adapting to fit someone else's expectations. It's natural, we all shift to fit into social situations, but when these shifts become the default, we risk losing touch with our own identity. A helpful exercise is to list out the labels or roles that come to mind when you think of yourself. Write down titles like mother, manager, son, friend, artist, any label that you feel defines you. Next to each one, jot down where this label comes from. Was it something you chose or something others placed upon you? Do you feel that the label accurately reflects who you are, or is it something you carry out of obligation? Once you've identified these labels and expectations, the next step is to challenge them. Ask yourself, do these roles serve me, or do they hold me back? Imagine someone who has always been seen as the quiet one in their family. This expectation might have caused them to suppress their true opinions or avoid speaking up, even when they felt strongly about something. For years, they may have acted in ways that kept others comfortable, but prevented their own growth. If you recognize similar patterns in yourself, consider what it would be like to live without them. It's a frightening but liberating thought. By questioning these roles, you allow yourself the freedom to redefine who you are and how you show up in the world. At the heart of freeing ourselves from expectations is the challenge of letting go of the need for external approval. Many of us are raised to seek validation from others, and it's easy to fall into a pattern of people-pleasing. But when we live solely for others' approval, we're no longer living for ourselves. Think of approval as a powerful currency that others hold over us. When we constantly seek it, we become dependent, tethered to external sources for our sense of worth. But self-worth, true and lasting, comes from within. Rebuilding yourself involves shifting from needing others' approval to honoring your own. This shift is essential. It moves you from a place of dependency to a place of self-trust. One way to practice this shift is to intentionally make choices that reflect your own values, even if they go against the grain. Start small. Maybe it's expressing an opinion you'd usually keep to yourself or taking a step toward a dream others don't understand. With each act of self-honoring, you build the muscle of self-trust and begin to reclaim your power. What does it mean to live a life defined by your own standards? It means freeing yourself from the weight of others' expectations. It means allowing yourself to be multidimensional, complex, and imperfect without apologizing for it. It means choosing who you want to be rather than allowing others to choose for you. A powerful example of this freedom is in the life of Maya Angelou, who famously said, "If I am not good to myself, how can I expect anyone else to be good to me?" Her life and work were testaments to the power of self-definition, of living by her own terms. She faced criticism, misunderstanding, and prejudice, yet she held to her values and purpose with courage. She allowed herself to evolve, defining herself in each phase of her life, rather than letting others do it for her. In rebuilding yourself, you are, in essence, rewriting the narrative of who you are. Instead of following the script that others have written, you are taking up the pen and authoring your own story. This act of self-definition is not just powerful, it's necessary for a meaningful life. Start by affirming your own choices and values each day. A powerful tool is to write a self-affirmation every morning. This could be as simple as "I honor my own path," "I trust my decisions," or "I choose what aligns with my true self." Repeating this affirmation reminds you to stay grounded in your own values rather than bending to external pressures. Over time, you'll feel the gradual shift from living for others to living for yourself. This journey isn't about rejecting others or becoming isolated. Instead, it's about standing firm in who you are, which ultimately allows you to engage with others from a place of authenticity. By breaking free from the masks and roles that don't serve you, you're giving yourself permission to be fully seen, fully valued, and fully alive. Chapter 3. Cultivating Self-Compassion. Self-compassion may be one of the most misunderstood aspects of personal growth. We're often our own harshest critics, quick to judge ourselves for mistakes, perceived flaws, and past regrets. But if we're going to rebuild ourselves authentically, learning to treat ourselves with kindness is essential. Self-compassion isn't about avoiding accountability or making excuses, it's about creating a safe space for growth, where we can accept our imperfections without letting them define us. Many of us grew up with the idea that being critical of ourselves is the way to improve. We push ourselves harder, criticize every misstep, and feel guilty when we don't live up to our own expectations. But research shows that this harsh self-treatment often backfires. Instead of motivating us to do better, it can trap us in cycles of shame and self-doubt, draining our confidence and keeping us stuck in negative patterns. Cultivating self-compassion, however, can become a powerful tool for resilience and long-lasting growth. At its core, self-compassion is treating yourself as you would treat a close friend. Imagine a friend coming to you after making a mistake, feeling ashamed or vulnerable. Most likely you wouldn't berate them or make them feel worse. You'd offer empathy, reassurance, and perhaps even a gentle reminder that everyone stumbles. This same kindness can be extended to ourselves, though, for many, it doesn't come naturally. Dr. Kristin Neff, a pioneer in self-compassion research, explains that self-compassion has three main components: self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. Self-kindness is the act of treating oneself gently and forgivingly. Common humanity is the understanding that everyone experiences suffering, and you're not alone in your struggles. And mindfulness is the ability to observe your thoughts and feelings without getting swept up in them. Together, these elements allow us to approach our own lives with more empathy and resilience. Self-criticism is often deeply ingrained. Many of us grew up with voices, whether from family, school, or society, that told us we needed to be better or try harder. Over time, these voices became internalized, becoming our own inner critics. While it's true that constructive feedback can help us grow, relentless self-criticism can be damaging, especially when it becomes a default reaction to every setback. To start breaking free from self-criticism, recognize when it's happening. Notice the words you use with yourself when you make a mistake or fall short of your expectations. Are they harsh or punitive? Do they make you feel small or unworthy? Becoming aware of this internal dialogue is the first step toward changing it. When you catch yourself being overly critical, take a deep breath and replace those thoughts with kinder, more supportive language. This isn't about ignoring mistakes, it's about choosing a response that allows for growth rather than guilt. One powerful exercise to build self-compassion is the self-compassion letter. When you're struggling or feeling down, write a letter to yourself from the perspective of a kind friend. Describe the situation, acknowledge your feelings, and offer words of encouragement and understanding. This practice helps to shift your perspective, allowing you to step outside the cycle of self-judgment and approach your feelings with kindness. Another way to practice self-compassion is through compassionate breathing. Find a quiet place, close your eyes, and take slow, deep breaths. With each breath in, imagine kindness and understanding filling you. With each breath out, let go of judgment and self-criticism. Practicing this for just a few minutes each day can have a powerful impact on how you relate to yourself, creating a foundation of calm and empathy. When you treat yourself with compassion, it doesn't just improve your own well-being, it also impacts your relationships and interactions with others. Think about it: if you're constantly critical of yourself, you may be more prone to judging others too. However, if you approach yourself with understanding, it becomes easier to extend that same grace to those around you. Self-compassion doesn't just make you kinder to yourself, it makes you a better friend, partner, and colleague. In fact, self-compassion can be the starting point for building a supportive network of relationships. When you're able to be open about your struggles and show empathy toward yourself, others often feel safer doing the same. This authenticity fosters deeper connections and allows for genuine support systems to form, creating an environment of mutual kindness and resilience. It's important to remember that self-compassion isn't a quick fix, it's a habit to cultivate over time. At first, you might feel resistance, especially if self-criticism has been your default mode for years. But with patience and practice, you can shift your inner narrative from one of criticism to one of kindness. Each time you choose compassion over judgment, you're laying a new brick in the foundation of your rebuilt self, a self that is resilient, strong, and forgiving. As you continue on this journey of rebuilding, self-compassion will be your anchor. It allows you to face your weaknesses without letting them overwhelm you. It gives you the courage to try, fail, and try again, knowing that your worth isn't tied to perfection. By cultivating this inner kindness, you're not just creating a better relationship with yourself, you're setting the stage for deeper, more meaningful growth in every area of your life. Chapter 4. Releasing Limiting Beliefs. Rebuilding yourself requires breaking free from mental barriers that may be holding you back. These barriers often take the form of limiting beliefs, deep-seated assumptions that shape how we see ourselves and our potential. Limiting beliefs are the mental scripts that tell us, "I'm not good enough, I can't change," or "this is just how things are." They're rarely true, but they feel real because we've repeated them to ourselves so many times. If you're going to transform, these beliefs need to be brought to light and replaced with empowering truths. Think of limiting beliefs as lenses through which you see the world. If your belief is "I'm not capable," then every challenge you face will look insurmountable. If you believe "I don't deserve success," you may sabotage opportunities before they even begin. The truth is, these beliefs weren't born from reality, they were created by interpretations, experiences, failures, or criticisms that you internalized over time. The first step to freeing yourself is recognizing that these beliefs are not facts, only perceptions. One of the best ways to uncover limiting beliefs is to look at the areas of your life where you feel stuck. Where do you feel frustrated or incapable of moving forward? Where do you feel like you're hitting a wall, no matter how hard you try? These feelings of stagnation are often signs that a limiting belief is at play. A practical exercise to identify these beliefs is to complete the following sentence: "I can't do this because," or "I'm not enough because." Write down whatever comes to mind without filtering. This practice allows you to bring the subconscious into the conscious, exposing the thoughts that may be operating in the background. You may find statements like "I'm too old to change, people like me don't succeed," or "I'll just fail again." These thoughts are limiting beliefs. Once you've identified them, you're halfway to breaking free. After identifying a limiting belief, the next step is to challenge it. Ask yourself, is this belief objectively true? What evidence do you have that supports it, and what evidence contradicts it? Often, you'll find that limiting beliefs are built on selective memories or one-off experiences, not solid proof. For example, say your belief is, I'll never be successful because I failed in the past. To challenge this belief, list examples of people who succeeded after failure. Think of historical figures, entrepreneurs, artists, or even people you know personally who bounced back stronger after setbacks. The more you expose yourself to evidence that contradicts your limiting beliefs, the less power they'll have over you. Once you've challenged the belief, reframe it. Instead of "I'll never be successful," you might replace it with "I have the potential to succeed if I keep learning and trying." This shift in language isn't just positive thinking, it's a reconditioning of your mind. By consistently replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones, you reshape your mental landscape and open yourself up to new possibilities. Limiting beliefs often become self-fulfilling prophecies. When you believe something negative about yourself, you subconsciously act in ways that confirm that belief. For example, if you think, "I'm not worthy of love," you might avoid relationships, push people away, or tolerate poor treatment from others. Over time, these actions reinforce the belief, making it feel even more real. Understanding the cycle of self-fulfilling prophecies is crucial to breaking free. When you catch yourself acting in ways that align with a limiting belief, pause and consider what belief is driving this behavior. How would I act if I believed something different? This awareness is powerful. Each time you break the cycle and act in alignment with an empowering belief, you chip away at the old, limiting one. Rebuilding yourself involves consciously choosing beliefs that serve your growth. Think of the qualities you admire in others: confidence, resilience, kindness, curiosity. These qualities aren't inherent, they're cultivated through practice and the beliefs that support them. If you want to be more resilient, for example, adopt a belief like, "Challenges are opportunities for growth." If you want to be more confident, embrace the belief, "I am capable and worthy of success." Take a moment to write down 3 empowering beliefs that resonate with the person you want to become. These beliefs should be specific, realistic, and stated in the present tense, as if they're already true. Examples could include, "I am worthy of love and respect," "I am always learning and growing," or "I have the strength to overcome any challenge." Revisit these beliefs daily and remind yourself of them, especially when you feel doubt creeping in. With time, these empowering beliefs will become the default, shaping how you think, act, and feel. To reinforce these new beliefs, try incorporating daily affirmations into your routine. Start each morning by saying your empowering beliefs out loud or writing them down. The repetition helps solidify them, making it easier for your mind to adopt these beliefs as truths. Affirmations aren't magic, but they are a powerful tool to counteract years of ingrained negative thinking. If doubts arise, which they will, acknowledge them without judgment. Remind yourself that changing your belief system is a process. Some days will be harder than others, and that's okay. The point isn't to be perfect but to persist, trusting that with each affirmation, you're gradually building a foundation of self-belief. As you release limiting beliefs and replace them with empowering ones, you'll begin to feel lighter, more hopeful, and more open to new possibilities. This transformation will be gradual, like peeling back layers to reveal a clearer, more authentic version of yourself. Each time you challenge an old belief or affirm a new one, you're taking a step toward the person you want to become. Releasing limiting beliefs is an act of courage. It's a way of reclaiming your mind, deciding for yourself what's possible, and setting the stage for genuine growth. Remember, these beliefs didn't form overnight, and they won't disappear overnight either. But with patience, awareness, and a commitment to change, you can free yourself from the mental constraints that once held you back. Chapter 5. Building Inner Resilience. Life is unpredictable. No matter how carefully we plan, challenges will inevitably come our way. When they do, our ability to persevere and adapt is a defining factor in how we rebuild and grow. Resilience is the inner strength that helps us bounce back from adversity, handle stress, and continue moving forward even when things get tough. It's a quality that can be cultivated, and in rebuilding yourself, resilience becomes your greatest ally. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain or pretending things don't hurt. Instead, it's about embracing discomfort and using it as a stepping stone toward growth. Think of resilience as a muscle. Just like any other muscle, it strengthens with use. Each time you face a setback, you're given an opportunity to grow that resilience muscle a little more, to prepare yourself for even bigger challenges and achievements. Resilience starts with mindset. People who are resilient don't necessarily have fewer problems or easier lives, they simply approach difficulties with a different attitude. One key mindset of resilience is the belief that challenges are temporary and surmountable. Resilient people see setbacks as part of life, not the end of the road. They understand that while they can't control every situation, they can control how they respond to it. A powerful way to build this mindset is to reframe the way you see obstacles. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, try seeing them as lessons. Each challenge you face holds valuable information about yourself and the world. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience help me grow? This shift in perspective takes time but can be life-changing. It moves you from a place of feeling victimized by circumstances to a place of empowerment and learning. Resilience is closely tied to self-compassion, a concept we explored in the previous chapter. When setbacks happen, it's easy to blame ourselves, thinking we should have been better or stronger, but self-blame only erodes our resilience. Instead, self-compassion gives us the emotional support we need to keep going. Imagine a friend going through a tough time. If they came to you for support, you'd likely reassure them, empathize with their pain, and encourage them to keep trying. This same kindness can be extended to yourself. When you're going through a hard time, remind yourself that it's okay to struggle and that setbacks are a natural part of growth. This attitude allows you to recover faster, as you're not weighed down by guilt or self-criticism. Resilience isn't built in a day, it's cultivated through consistent habits and practices. One way to build resilience daily is to develop a grounding routine that centers you, especially in times of stress. This could be as simple as 5 minutes of deep breathing in the morning, journaling, or setting intentions for the day. These practices help you establish a calm, centered state of mind, making it easier to face challenges as they arise. Another powerful habit for resilience is physical activity. Exercise has been shown to reduce stress, improve mood, and increase overall mental resilience. When you engage in physical activity, your body releases endorphins, which act as natural mood lifters. Regular exercise also helps you develop discipline and perseverance, two qualities that strengthen resilience over time. You don't need to run a marathon, even a short walk can provide mental clarity and resilience boosts. Finally, practicing gratitude daily can also enhance resilience. When you focus on what you're grateful for, even in the midst of hardship, you remind yourself that there's still good in your life. This shift in focus helps to buffer against stress and build a positive mindset, which is crucial for resilience. Try ending each day by writing down 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to seek out the positive, which helps you bounce back more quickly from difficulties. Resilience is often thought of as an individual trait, but our connections with others play a significant role. Studies show that people with strong support networks, friends, family, mentors, tend to be more resilient. When we face hardships, having others to lean on can provide perspective, encouragement, and comfort. If you don't currently have a strong support system, consider building one by seeking out communities, support groups, or even online forums related to your interests. Connection doesn't have to come from family or close friends sometimes. A community of like-minded individuals can offer the strength you need. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help when you need it. Resilience doesn't mean going it alone, it means knowing when to lean on others. An essential part of resilience is flexibility. Life rarely goes exactly as planned, and rigid thinking can make it harder to adapt when things don't turn out the way you expected. Being resilient means being open to change, even if it's uncomfortable. Flexibility allows you to adjust your plans, recalibrate your goals, and find new paths forward. To practice flexibility, start with small changes in your routine. Try taking a different route to work, experimenting with a new hobby, or adjusting your daily habits. Each time you embrace change, you're training yourself to adapt more easily when bigger shifts happen. Over time, flexibility becomes a natural part of how you handle life's ups and downs, making you more resilient in the face of unexpected challenges. Resilience is a quality that, once built, serves you in every area of life. It's the foundation that allows you to rebuild after failure, to grow stronger after setbacks, and to keep pursuing your goals even when the path is unclear. As you practice resilience, you'll find that life's challenges become less intimidating. you'll develop the inner strength to navigate difficult times and the flexibility to embrace change. Rebuilding yourself isn't just about reaching a destination, it's about building the qualities that will support you on the journey. Resilience is one of those qualities. Each challenge you face and overcome brings you closer to the strongest version of yourself. Embrace the journey, knowing that every step you take, every challenge you face, is shaping you into the resilient, empowered person you're meant to become. Chapter 6. Cultivating Self-Determination. Once you've started the process of rebuilding, letting go of limiting beliefs and strengthening resilience, the next critical step is self-determination. Self-determination is the power that propels you forward. It's the drive to set goals that align with your true values and to pursue them with conviction. Self-determination doesn't mean pushing blindly toward success, it's about taking deliberate, purposeful steps toward a life that feels authentically yours. When you're rebuilding yourself, self-determination helps you chart your own path. It's the antidote to passivity and people-pleasing, grounding you in your own vision of what a fulfilling life looks like. It's not about adopting someone else's standards or chasing goals that don't resonate deeply. Instead, self-determination is about finding and following a direction that aligns with who you truly are. Self-determination begins with setting goals that reflect your genuine aspirations rather than external pressures or fleeting desires. To create intentional goals, start by asking yourself a few critical questions. What matters most to me? What brings me joy? What kind of life am I striving to create? The answers to these questions form the foundation of goals that are personally meaningful. A helpful technique is to break down your larger goals into smaller, actionable steps. Instead of focusing solely on long-term ambitions, identify short-term goals that bring you closer to your vision. For example, if your goal is to live a healthier lifestyle, start with smaller steps like cook 2 healthy meals a week, or take a 15-minute walk every morning. These smaller actions create momentum and reinforce your sense of self-determination with each accomplishment. One of the key aspects of self-determination is intrinsic motivation, doing something because it's inherently rewarding, not because of external rewards or approval. Intrinsic motivation often leads to greater satisfaction and perseverance. The people who are intrinsically motivated are more likely to pursue their goals with enthusiasm, even in the face of obstacles. Think about a goal you've achieved in the past. Now, ask yourself, were you motivated by the joy and satisfaction of reaching that goal, or were you motivated by external factors like praise or recognition? True self-determination is built on the former. When you pursue a goal because it genuinely matters to you, you're more likely to stick with it and find joy in the process. To cultivate intrinsic motivation, reconnect with why your goals matter. Reflect on the personal meaning behind each goal, and remind yourself regularly of its importance. One of the biggest challenges to self-determination is the constant influence of others. Whether it's social media, friends, or family, outside perspectives can subtly shape our ambitions and decisions. Sometimes we find ourselves pursuing goals because they're popular or respected by others, rather than because they genuinely matter to us. This disconnect can lead to frustration, burnout, and a sense of emptiness. To counter this, practice setting boundaries around your goals and vision. Remind yourself that while external feedback can be valuable, your inner compass is what truly guides you. A helpful exercise is to visualize the life you want to create, focusing on the details that bring you joy or satisfaction. Each time you feel swayed by external influences, return to this vision. Remember, self-determination is about taking ownership of your life, not about meeting others' expectations. Self-determination also requires discipline. Discipline is what sustains you when motivation wanes. It's the commitment to take small, consistent steps toward your goals, even when the excitement fades. Discipline doesn't mean forcing yourself to do things you hate, it's about creating habits and routines that support your growth and progress. Consider developing a daily routine that aligns with your goals. If one of your aims is to write a book, set aside 15 minutes each day to write, even if it's just a few sentences. The consistency of showing up each day builds discipline and reinforces your commitment to your goals. When you look back over time, you'll see how each small effort has brought you closer to your larger vision. Self-determination also involves perseverance. Challenges and setbacks are inevitable, but it's your persistence in the face of those difficulties that builds resilience. When you encounter obstacles, remind yourself of why your goals matter and how far you've come. Each time you choose to keep going, you're reinforcing your commitment to the life you want to build. self-determination is strengthened by self-acknowledgement. Too often, we move from one task to the next without pausing to recognize our accomplishments. Celebrating small victories helps you stay motivated and affirms your progress. Each time you achieve a milestone, acknowledge it. Remind yourself that every step, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to your goals. To practice self-acknowledgement, take a few minutes each week to list your achievements, both big and small. Did you make progress on a project? Did you show resilience in a difficult situation? Recognizing these accomplishments reminds you of your strength and determination, and it builds confidence for the road ahead. At its core, self-determination is about ownership. It's about taking responsibility for your actions, your choices, and your life. It means understanding that, while you can't control everything, you have the power to direct your own journey. This ownership is empowering. It places your future firmly in your hands. As you cultivate self-determination, you'll find that your goals begin to reflect your true self more closely. You'll be less influenced by fleeting trends or outside opinions, and more guided by a sense of purpose. This ownership is the cornerstone of rebuilding yourself. It gives you the freedom to choose, the courage to act, and the confidence to persevere. Chapter 7. Integrating new patterns and habits. Rebuilding yourself isn't just about grand changes or breakthroughs, it's also about the small, consistent actions that shape who you are day by day. Habits and routines form the foundation of personal transformation, helping you sustain progress and turn your goals into reality. Integrating new patterns into your life isn't about immediate results but about building a lifestyle that reflects the person you want to become. Creating habits that support growth requires intentionality and patience. Whether you want to cultivate resilience, creativity, self-discipline, or any other quality, your habits will help define how deeply those qualities take root in your life. In this chapter, we'll explore how to create habits that align with your goals and how to make these new patterns a natural part of your everyday life. To successfully build a new habit, it's helpful to understand how habits work. Habits are essentially automatic behaviors formed by a cycle known as the habit loop, which consists of three components: the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue is the trigger that initiates the habit, the routine is the action itself, and the reward is the benefit or satisfaction you gain, which reinforces the behavior. For example, if you want to build a habit of daily meditation, start by identifying a cue. This could be something you already do consistently, like brushing your teeth in the morning. Right after you brush your teeth, you meditate for 5 minutes. The routine, and the sense of calm or accomplishment you feel afterward becomes the reward. By linking your new habit to an existing routine, you make it easier to stick with. When selecting new habits, think about the person you want to become and the goals you're working toward. Each habit should be a small, manageable action that aligns with these broader intentions. For instance, if one of your goals is to become more mindful, you might develop a habit of spending a few minutes each day journaling or practicing deep breathing. Begin with 1 or 2 small habits, especially if you're building several new patterns. Trying to change too much at once often leads to burnout or frustration. Focus on consistency over intensity. A 5-minute habit practiced daily is more effective in the long run than a 30-minute habit practiced sporadically. Remember, the goal is to create sustainable change. The 2-minute rule is a popular technique for making habits more achievable. The idea is simple: start with a version of the habit that takes just 2 minutes. If your goal is to exercise regularly, begin with 2 minutes of stretching or a quick walk. Once you've established the routine, you can gradually increase the time. Starting small helps overcome the initial resistance to change. Most people struggle with habits not because they're incapable of doing them but because starting feels daunting. When the habit feels manageable, you're more likely to begin, and, eventually, more likely to continue. The 2-minute version of your habit may seem insignificant, but it establishes a pattern that's easy to build on. Tracking your habits is a powerful way to stay motivated and see your progress. Each time you complete a habit, make a note of it. You can use a journal, a habit tracking app, or even a calendar where you mark each day you stick to your new pattern. Seeing a streak of days where you've completed the habit provides a sense of accomplishment and reinforces your commitment. Celebrating small wins is equally important. Each time you make progress, acknowledge it. This could be as simple as taking a moment to feel proud or treating yourself in a small way. Celebrating creates a positive association with the habit and reinforces the reward aspect of the habit loop, making it more likely that you'll stick with it in the long run. Habits are easier to maintain when you have support. Sharing your goals with a friend, family member, or support group can provide accountability and encouragement. When others know what you're working toward, you're more likely to follow through. You don't have to share every detail, but having someone who understands your journey can make a big difference. Another option is to join a group or community that shares similar goals. For example, if you're working on fitness, consider joining a walking group or a gym class. If your goal is related to learning, consider joining a study group or an online community. Being around others who value the same habits creates social reinforcement and can make the process more enjoyable. As you integrate new patterns into your life, remember that flexibility is essential. Life changes, and so should your habits when needed. If you're going through a busy or challenging time, adjust the intensity or frequency of your habits, rather than abandoning them altogether. For instance, if your regular exercise routine is 30 minutes, but you're short on time, try a 10-minute version instead. This adaptation keeps you engaged without overwhelming you. Periodically reassess your habits to ensure they still align with your goals and values. If a habit feels like a burden rather than a support, it may be time to modify it or replace it with something that fits better. Personal growth is an evolving process, and your habits should grow with you. Habits are the building blocks of your daily life. When you integrate new patterns and routines that reflect your values and goals, you're not just creating change, you're creating a lifestyle. Each habit reinforces the person you're working to become and builds momentum for continued growth. The beauty of habits is that, over time, they become second nature. The effort you put into cultivating these patterns will pay off as they transform from conscious decisions into automatic actions. When your life is built on intentional habits, each day brings you closer to your ideal self with less effort and more joy. Chapter 8. Living authentically and fully. Reaching the point where you can live authentically is the culmination of your journey to rebuild yourself. Authentic living means embracing who you are without apology, aligning your actions with your values, and showing up as your true self in all areas of life. It's the ultimate expression of self-discovery and growth, allowing you to build a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling. This final chapter is about taking all the insights, habits, and shifts you've cultivated and weaving them into a way of living that feels genuinely and uniquely yours. Living authentically isn't just about being honest with yourself, it's also about living in a way that reflects your innermost beliefs, desires, and goals. When you're authentic, you're free from the expectations, labels, and limitations that once defined you. It's a life that may not always be understood by others but feels right to you. This chapter explores what it means to embrace authenticity, the courage it requires, and the deep sense of fulfillment it brings. Living authentically means allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Vulnerability often gets a bad rap, but it's one of the most powerful ways to connect with others and express yourself genuinely. When you let people see the real you, flaws, strengths, and everything in between, you open the door to true connection and meaningful relationships. Vulnerability is an act of courage, because it requires honesty and openness, even when there's a risk of judgment or rejection. To practice vulnerability, start small. Share your thoughts or feelings in situations where you'd normally hold back. It could be as simple as voicing an opinion at work or expressing your appreciation to a friend. As you practice vulnerability, you'll find that the fear of judgment decreases, and the rewards of living openly increase. You're no longer hiding your living as your whole self. One of the pillars of authenticity is ensuring that your actions align with your values. Think of your values as a personal compass. They guide your decisions, behaviors, and interactions. When your actions reflect these values, you feel a sense of integrity and satisfaction. However, when you act in ways that go against your values, you may experience discomfort, guilt, or a sense of disconnection from yourself. To live authentically, it's essential to clarify your core values. Take time to identify what truly matters to you. For example, if one of your values is kindness, make it a priority to show compassion in your daily interactions. If growth is a core value, commit to learning and self-improvement. Let your values inform your decisions, from the work you choose to the people you surround yourself with. This alignment not only enhances your sense of purpose but also fosters a life that feels deeply fulfilling. Authenticity often requires letting go of the need for external validation. When you live for others' approval, you end up compromising parts of yourself, slowly drifting away from who you truly are. But when you live authentically, you become less dependent on others' opinions and more anchored in your own truth. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback or isolating yourself from others' perspectives. Instead, it's about developing the ability to honor your own voice first and foremost. Reflect on times when you've held back or altered your behavior to gain approval. Recognize that while validation feels good, it's fleeting. Real confidence comes from within, from knowing and trusting yourself. When you let go of the need for constant approval, you free yourself to make choices that truly resonate with you. Living authentically transforms your relationships. When you're honest about who you are, you attract people who appreciate and accept the real you. Authenticity creates space for genuine connections, where both people feel seen, understood, and valued. You no longer feel the need to play a role or meet unspoken expectations. You can simply be yourself. To build authentic relationships, communicate openly and encourage others to do the same. Be willing to set boundaries when necessary, expressing your needs clearly and kindly. True relationships are built on trust and mutual respect, and authenticity is the foundation. When both people feel free to be themselves, the relationship becomes a source of strength, growth, and joy. Authenticity also involves embracing your imperfections. It's easy to fall into the trap of striving for an idealized version of yourself, thinking that perfection is the path to acceptance. But in reality, it's our imperfections that make us unique, relatable, and human. When you embrace your flaws, you no longer waste energy hiding or covering them up. You're free to live without the weight of perfectionism, focusing instead on growth and self-compassion. Celebrate your progress, recognizing that the journey to rebuild and live authentically is ongoing. Each step you take toward authenticity, each moment you choose to honor your true self, is a victory. Life is a continuous process of learning and evolving. Embrace the path you're on, and give yourself credit for the courage and commitment it takes to live authentically. Living authentically doesn't just impact you, it influences others around you. When you show up as your true self, you encourage others to do the same. You become a source of inspiration, demonstrating the power and beauty of authenticity. This creates a ripple effect, fostering a culture of openness, honesty, and acceptance. Consider the legacy you want to leave behind. What values and lessons do you want others to remember? Living authentically allows you to create a meaningful legacy that reflects your true self. Each day is an opportunity to embody the qualities you value and to inspire others to live with the same integrity. As you step into this new chapter, remember that authenticity is not a destination but a practice. There will be moments when you feel vulnerable, misunderstood, or tempted to conform. In those times, remind yourself of the journey you've taken to rebuild and the commitment you've made to live fully as yourself. Trust that authenticity will bring you closer to a life that is not only fulfilling but deeply, unmistakably yours. Living authentically and fully is a gift you give to yourself and to the world. Embrace it wholeheartedly, knowing that each day you choose to be your true self, you're honoring the journey, the growth, and the person you've worked so hard to become. Final words. As you stand at the end of this journey and the beginning of a new chapter, remember that the path to becoming your true self is ongoing. Rebuilding yourself isn't a single moment or achievement, it's a lifelong commitment to growth, courage, and authenticity. Each day you have the chance to step more fully into the person you are becoming, to let go of what no longer serves you, and to nurture the qualities that make you feel alive. There will be challenges, moments of doubt, and days when you may feel tempted to retreat into old patterns. But each step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Trust that you have the strength, the resilience, and the wisdom to continue evolving, to keep discovering the depths of who you truly are. Embrace the imperfections, celebrate the victories, and know that every part of your journey is valuable. As you move forward, remember that your life is uniquely yours to shape. Live boldly, love deeply, and honor yourself fully. This journey you've embarked upon isn't just about changing. It's about creating a life that feels profoundly and beautifully true to you. Thank you for allowing this journey to be part of yours. Take care, and be well.